Well, good morning and welcome to the Industry Inspiration session with Inspiring the Future. These sessions allow us to explore different industries, the jobs that are available within the different industries, and what you might need to enter and succeed in the industry, and what it looks like to work in that industry, but also, overall, what employers are looking for. Before we get started, I'd like to pass over to David to give an acknowledgement of country. Oh, you're just on.
Gets me every time. I'd like to acknowledge the Darug people whose traditional land we live and work on today. I would also like to pay my respects to elders past, present and future, and pass that respect on to any other Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people in the room today. So thank you and welcome.
Thank you, David. So today we're very excited to have Roy McCullagh from Skills Connect International as our guest today. He has a wealth of experience and expertise in the hospitality industry, and he'll be sharing that with us today. We're going to talk to Roy about how to get started in the hospitality industry, what jobs are available, what employers are looking for, and tips for applying for your next job. So you'll have time at the end of the session where you can ask Roy some questions. So please write them down, ready to ask, or use the chat function along the way, and we'll make sure we get to those questions in the Q&A. If you have a question during the Q&A, please use the raising hand emoji so I know you have a question and we can get to it. So let's get started. Roy, can you tell us a little bit about your current position and your company?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks, Vanessa, for the opportunity to catch up and speak to everyone today. This is absolutely wonderful. So my name is Roy McCullagh. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Skills Connect International. And Skills Connect is a company that's reasonably new, but we're already hitting the ground running. We specialize in hospitality recruitment, primarily for roles such as kitchen hand, kitchen porter, chefs, cooks, front of house, baristas, waiters, hosts, meet and greet, wine sommeliers, and a number of other hospitality related roles. However, we can also assist candidates or companies in other areas such as in aged care, pick and pack as well. So we've branched out into a few different areas due to the demand. So we've got a broad range of candidates as well. But we have particularly been specializing in hospitality, and a key growth area for us is is working with people like Inspiring the Future and organizations like yourselves, and we're very, very happy to be involved.
Excellent. So can you tell me what type of jobs you have available through your network at the moment?
Yeah, certainly. So we have a broad range of jobs. The number one position at the moment, which is available for full-time, casual, part-time workers, is kitchen hand. Following on from that, it's usually a junior cook, chef de partie, front of house, so bar waiter, barista, meet and greet, a host, so welcoming people into the venues. We have roles for cleaners as well, and a couple of other hospitality related roles. But the key one is kitchen hand, and that could be from your local venues who are looking for part-time staff now. They're looking for school leavers or those who have just recently left school for after hours work, weekend shifts, evening shifts, day shifts, to help out in the kitchen. But what's really amazing about these opportunities is that they're open to everybody, regardless of your age and regardless of your skill set. So if you're new to hospitality, they want to talk to you, they want to meet you. And a lot of these companies now have really lifted their game from a HR point of view, from a quality point of view. And you're not just getting a role with them as a kitchen hand. They will see it as an opportunity to train you and develop you and offer you opportunities within groups. A lot of them are groups where they might have 4 or 5 hotels or pubs or even more. So we say to candidates, look, don't just see it as an opportunity to get in and do a few hours. If you want to progress in the industry, and it is an amazing industry, this could be your opportunity. And a lot of the companies now have really recognized that they need to look after staff, they need to train them, they need to develop them. And this could be the first step along that journey.
That sounds like a great stepping stone opportunity to get in the door and to see
what
avenue it could take you on. It sounds like there's
very much so. And we've created a great, we've a terrific network and relationship with a lot of the pubs and venues and hotels. So we're working on a program where instead of the candidate nervously perhaps worrying about how are they going to approach a pub or a venue or walk in the door, with their resume, and now of course with the COVID restrictions and vaccinations. So we actually have a direct relationship with a lot of venues who are looking for great young and old staff to help and get a job with, and we're keen to explore that with you and become the conduit for these young people so that they can get a foot in the door and get these jobs and not stress about how are they actually going to do it.
Yeah, well, on that note, what exactly are your employers looking for in an employee?
Yeah, so the current situation is quite different compared to what it was 2 or 3 years ago. So up to, say, 2 years ago, they'd be looking for somebody who has experience. They'd be looking for somebody who, wants to even have a career within the industry and, wants to commit. But it's quite different now, and I'll be openly honest in regards to that. What they're looking for right now, because of the oversupply of candidates and the shorter supply of jobs, it's really created a situation where they want somebody who will actually present very well in the resume. They want somebody, and we can talk a little bit about that later as well, from the resume point of view. They want somebody that will clearly highlight what they've done or what they're interested in and how can they contact them. They'll want somebody who will actually turn up and attend the interview, and you'll be amazed at the amount of people who don't actually attend the interviews that we've worked very hard to set up. So they want to see commitment. They want to see that this person is genuinely interested. The skills factor will come later. They're obviously, if they have somebody who's got a little bit of skill or a little bit of experience in a kitchen or in front of house in a nice restaurant, that's amazing. That's a bonus. But right now, what they want is somebody who will apply themselves well, will answer the phone when they call them, as much as possible to reconfirm an interview, and will turn up and will show up and will be dressed appropriately and will really give it a good go for the few hours that they might be doing an interview or a trial. And if that happens, they are very, very happy in the current climate.
Yeah, so it's really, a lot of it is that reliability and commitment from a...
Yeah, absolutely. And honoring your commitment. And even if a candidate accepts a role and then chooses not to take it, that's absolutely fine. There's no problem there. Things change and they might get offered more money elsewhere. But it's when the candidates don't advise the venue that they're not showing up or don't advise ourselves, that's when it kind of gets a little bit tricky, and it's not a great reflection on the candidate. It's not a great reflection on Skills Connect. So if they find somebody who will show up, who will ring them in advance and then turn up for day 2, which is even more remarkable, they will really put in the effort and put in the hard work, and make sure that candidate feels very welcome.
Yeah. So, and communication obviously is a big thing. So, communicating with the employer about confirming your appointment, your interview, communicating if you're not able to come back, if you don't want to accept the job. It's communication is another key element.
Yeah, absolutely. Because what a lot of candidates don't understand, they think that if they don't turn up for the trial on a Saturday, they possibly maybe even don't even think too much about it. But the impact that has had is the business has done a roster for that Saturday. They've maybe put on a senior chef for that time in the morning just to give you a 2-hour trial or an interview. So they've actually worked behind the scenes with it. They've done paperwork and they've, got everything in place with the team to say XYZ candidate is due here on Saturday, 10 o'clock, make them welcome. And so a lot of time and effort and money does go into it. So if a candidate can't attend, if they could let us know and avoid that, that would be amazing. But the main thing is if they do attend on time or a little bit early and really enjoy the experience. Now, it may not be what they want to do, by circumstances with the lockdown, with job losses. They may have had a great role elsewhere and they find themselves suddenly without a job. And, a lot of people would look down on a position, say in the kitchen or in front of house. But if they can say, look, it is what it is, I'm with this great company, and maybe in 12 months, I might be able to move into a marketing role or, a sales role within the group or an events role. And they will really respond to that as a venue, as a company. Yeah,
that's great. So with these entry-level jobs that are available, what are the pre-requirements for them? Are there any pre-requirements?
Yeah. So what the venues are really looking for is the skills, if you have the skills or a bit of experience in it, that's amazing. But that's not the number one thing they're looking for at the moment. Currently, they will possibly ask you if you are vaccinated. That is a big issue. That's a personal choice, though, between the candidate and the venue. We don't advocate either way for that particular question, but a lot of venues are asking that and making their own choice whether they continue with the candidate. So that's a very important issue now as well. But they're really just looking for somebody who's got a great attitude and is prepared to roll up the sleeves and work hard and really enjoy it and embrace it and take a little bit of pressure off the venue. And then the doors will open, for the candidates. And we've got those relationships now. We have, particularly in the Penrith LGA, we got lots of venues that are looking for great staff as well, and we can facilitate that and make sure it's a really great, warm welcome, for the candidate. But looking for a good attitude, well presented, and just really being there and being there on time and showing up.
Yeah. And so these positions that you've mentioned, how might somebody go about applying for one or finding them and then applying for them?
Yeah, so look, there's a couple of ways of doing it. The traditional way would be through your own personal network, through your friends. You might have friends that are working in a bar or in a cafe. And look, if that works, or in a retail store, if they can put in a word for you, that's fantastic. I'd say, go for your life. So if you know somebody that's in there that can recommend you to the owners of the business, do it, because that will make the process a hell of a lot easier for you as far as getting the job. But if you don't have that luxury, you might want to come to a company like ourselves where we've got the relationship. And our point of difference compared to other companies is that we don't charge, compared to other recruitment companies, we don't currently charge the venues a fee. So we don't charge a finder's fee or a commission fee, and that sets us apart. And that's part of our plan at the moment, and that's working really well. So that means that the venues can afford to engage with us. So for the first few candidates, we won't charge them anything. So we're not in it for the dollar, reward. We're not in it for anything other than helping the venues who've lost, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and helping candidates who want to get that job. And I know from my own experience with with my son Lucas, just 14 years and 9 months now, and he started, looking for a couple of casual jobs himself, and he's absolutely wonderful. Great young guy, and I helped him just with a handwritten note, and photocopied it for him, and just drove him around to a few venues. But he walked in off the street himself, and I could tell for the first one was probably a little bit nervous going in, and for someone that age who hasn't had to do it before, it is a daunting experience walking in, opening the door and saying, "Oh, can I speak to the manager?" or something. So you can do that as well. That can work if you have the confidence. But our aim is to really take that pressure away from kids or people that are looking for work. There is a lot of stress out there at the moment, particularly from a financial point of view and with job losses. And the thing is, there are a lot of candidates out there. So we want to help give your candidates, our people, the best opportunity to stand out from the flock, and with that, we'll help them do a really great resume, a one-page resume that really sells who they are. Now, a resume does not have to have years of experience. It doesn't have to say, if you haven't got years of experience, and we don't make it up. So the resume can be, what's your name? Where do you live? How do we contact you? What school did you go to? Or have you finished school, and who your referees are? And maybe, one or two lines on what your interests are. So the employer then, he can clearly see what your name is. He can clearly identify your phone number or your email, and he may wish to contact you direct or come to us. So we'll help with that. So the really basic things as well are what I'm seeing from a lot of young students who have applied to us. The fact that they've applied and sent in their resumes is amazing. But one of the areas that they seem to be struggling with is the resumes. And what employers want and what recruitment companies want is a very plain, simple resume. So something that doesn't have lots of color, doesn't have graphics on it, doesn't have really, really fancy designs, because a lot of the larger companies will use software, to skim the resumes to identify, to pick out, good resumes or good candidates. Whereas we're doing it the old-fashioned way. The software is called Me, so I get to read all the resumes, so there isn't that issue. But some resumes, it is actually very difficult to see the name, see the number, because of the really fancy design. So when I speak to candidates, say, look, keep it really simple, or we can do that for you. You know, we're working on a jobs club project where we will do the resumes for them. And the resumes just need to be clear, simple, concise, and easy to read, and not fancy. Because if they're too complicated and too colorful, and they got too much going on, where they can't find your name or your email or your phone number, if it's down the bottom or on the side, they'll just toss it because they've got, you know, that many candidates to work through. So we help with that, keeping it very simple, helping with their confidence, and in many cases showing up for the first interview with them, or bringing them to the venue, you know, if that helps them as well. Yeah. And we'll even talk about grooming, you know, a bit of personal grooming, and how they present themselves. But really, really simple stuff, but very important stuff for a young candidate.
Yeah. So you've spoken about some of the key things that you look for in a good candidate, things like that reliability, the communication, the nice, clear, concise resume, and grooming. What are some things that might reflect a not so good candidate in your eyes?
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. I'm glad you asked that. So one of the things I've noticed, and I think this is not typical isn't the right word, but I think a lot of young people struggle when they're on the telephone, on the phone, on the mobile, as far as having a conversation. And when I ring a candidate to thank them for sending in their resume, it's usually, and I'll try ring at times where I think they might be available. You know, obviously if they're in class or online doing classes, I don't ring during those times if I can help it. But if it's lunchtime or the afternoon, it's really, really difficult to get hold of them on the phone. That's the first thing. They rarely answer their phone. And when they do answer their phone, sometimes their communication skills on the phone are really poor. And I've even had this with older candidates. This isn't just a generational thing. I've had it with chefs and cooks that I'm putting forward for roles, and you're ringing them to tell them that you've secured an interview. But the lack of enthusiasm on the phone is remarkable. And you're kind of thinking, well, you're saying, look, this is a good thing. You know, when they ring you, I need you to be sounding a bit more engaged and say your name. It's amazing the amount of people that pick up the phone and who are receiving a call, but then don't announce their name, you know, or there's a pause. So then the person, when I'm ringing, I just want to make sure that is Jenny or that is Vanessa, you know. Yeah. So they're ringing and go, yeah, hello. You might not even get a hello. I'm like, hi, is that Shane, Brad? And they go, yeah, who's this? I'm like, oh my God, you know. Yeah. It's I don't say oh my God, but I'm like, hi, it's Roy from Skills Connect, and they've got no idea who I am, even though they've sent through their resume, you know. Yeah. And that's, you know, we'll chat about that briefly as well. But when I have engaged with them, and when I'm ringing them back to say, Bob from XYZ Club has agreed, he wants to meet you, he likes your resume. Are you free on Thursday at 10 o'clock? And they go, oh, I don't know, or I'm not sure, or yeah, I'll let you know, or just getting that positive energy, you know, the response over the phone can really, they can win them the job if they do speak to the employer prior to the interview. Yeah. Because if you're in a customer-facing role in particular, and the employer feels, well, God, this guy's got no personality or is really nervous. I mean, it's okay to be nervous, but just be polite and use your name and thank them on the phone, and be engaging as opposed to just letting it be a one-way conversation. Now that's tricky because, you know, when we're older, we can all do that, you know, blindfolded, literally.
It's how we've grown up. We've used the phone to communicate.
Whereas now everyone uses the phone. No one phones each other now, especially, you know, my kids were 14 and 12, but they'll text and message and WhatsApp each other. Yeah. You know, yeah.
So and practicing those skills is going to be a key element to being comfortable on the phone and taking those phone calls and answering those questions. So
and when somebody does leave a message for you on the phone, you know, do respond, you know, check your messages, come back to them, because the amount of time I spend leaving messages and you never hear back from the majority of people. So you don't know if they've got it. You don't know if they're not interested in the role. So then you spend more time trying to ring them again. Yeah. And, you know, or even responding to a text message. A lot of people prefer text, which is fine. It's absolutely great. but respond to it, acknowledge it, and let them know that you've got the message as well,
Yeah.
And another good tip as well, I try to tell people, is if somebody like myself or if a potential employer rings you, and if you have the time, save their number and their name in the phone, and I say this over and over so that when they ring, if I ring them, they know it's me, so they can either ignore the call, delete it, or answer and go, oh, hi Roy, how are you? But it makes such a difference if that they realize it's you calling. So I say, look, save Vanessa's name in the phone with her number, so then when she rings, her name comes up and you can either take the call or call her back later on. So little things like that can make a great difference as well. But look, that comes with being older and sort of more used to those kind of things. So but the manner on the phone, the engagement, the tone of your voice can really sell you. I get really excited if somebody's very enthusiastic and pleasant and engaged on the phone. And we've had some amazing calls, I must say, from a lot of your schools, over the last couple of weeks. So when we did send a message out originally to the careers advisors, people who have been absolutely brilliant, I have to say. And I've had some great calls from people who were really, really young, and had a brilliant call from somebody who was chatting away, and I wasn't sure if it was a boy or a girl, but they sounded really young. And I said to them, and they're chatting to me about the kitchen hand position, that was posted out in some of the schools. And I said, what age are you? How old are you? And they said, I'm in year 7. I was like, oh, great. Year 7, isn't that, are you 12 or something? But they were so confident and polite, and and I said, oh, look, I'm really chuffed for you to ring and pick up the phone as a year 7 child, the same age as my daughter, is really, really cool. And I gave them lots of compliments and lots of confidence. I said, look, I think you're amazing, absolutely brilliant, and well done for ringing. But I can't help you at the moment, but I think we'll keep in touch and, keep ringing, don't give up. And when you're 14 and a half, 15, follow up again, but keep ringing. So some of the calls have been brilliant,
That's great.
So
Well,
kudos to all the great people out there that are mentoring them and advising them and working hard, because you're not always going to hear positive comments,
That's it. That's right. Well, I think you've given us some great tips. I might throw, before we run out of time, over to our participants if we have any questions.
Can I just add in, sorry, Vanessa, one more tip?
Yeah.
If the candidates are sending resumes, don't use Google Docs or a link or anything like that, because that will put off everybody straight away. They'll just automatically delete it. So that's an important thing. I know they use that at school, and there's a lot of them are sending from school, and they may not have laptops at home, and internet is as easily as all of us. But if they can avoid sending a link saying here's my resume, and then you got to log on to Google Docs, it'll just get deleted. It won't even get opened.
Yeah, good tip. So have we got any questions from our participants or coaches? Just use the raised hand emoji to let me know. Oh. Yes, David.
Yeah, hi Roy. Thank you very much. I appreciate your taking the time. Just for a lot of our participants are actually quite young. How do you encourage young people to sort of, take the responsibility, like you talked about pubs and clubs and stuff like that, with age being a barrier? How do we overcome that?
Yeah. So when you say young, what age group are you referring to mainly, David?
So from 15, 17 in that age group.
Yeah. And just give me that question again. So how do we combat their
obviously
uncertainty, was it?
Yeah, so 15 to 17, going into hospitality, obviously cafes and stuff like that are fine, but what about pubs and hotels and stuff like that? Is age an issue there? Is it a barrier, or what they're employing those at that age group?
It depends on, the first thing is how old they are, because obviously there'll be RSA, licensing restrictions, and depending on the venue as well, if they're looking for, say, a kitchen hand, the fact that the applicants are between the age of 15 and 17 and don't necessarily have an RSA or shouldn't be in a licensed venue, that can be there can be a solution to that, because they're back of house and they're not in an area of the venue where there's alcohol being served. So that's the first thing. So if they're applying for jobs that are behind the scenes, even cleaning or kitchen hand, that's not an issue with the majority of venues. So each venue might have a slightly different policy. But on the whole, as far as it comes to kitchen work behind the scenes, that part of it should be absolutely fine. And what I would generally say, if they don't choose to come through, to somebody like ourselves, but do the research on the website as well. So it's amazing the amount of, I guess, candidates who don't do the research because they're not used to having to find things for themselves. They're not used to having to think for themselves. It's not being derogatory. It's just the way it is now. Everything is on Google. Everything, if it's not on an app, they really don't know what to do or how to do it. So I just say to them, look, have you done, and this has happened to me recently with older people in their 20s and 30s with chefs. And I said, look, have you done your research? No. I said, well, have you looked on their website? No, I haven't. Okay, well, it's a private yacht club. Why haven't you looked on their website? Oh, one guy said to me, well, because I'll be working in the kitchen. I won't be, this is before the interview, I won't be meeting members or at the front. I said, well, you really need to know what the company's all about. And so I would have a look at their website, David. I'd encourage them to pick up the phone to the head offices if there is a head office for the company. They're usually very happy to receive applications. They might ask for them to be sent automatically by, through the web, through their app, through their website. They might ask for their resumes to be sent through. But before they do that, the candidates will give them the best chance, give themselves the best chance if they've got a proper resume or if somebody has done it for them. And even if it doesn't have any experience listed on it, because they might be their first job, that's fine. But if it's a good, clean resume with their name, contact details, hours of availability, referees, that will give them a great start. But I'd start by picking up the phone, asking their friends, asking their family, do you know anyone that works in such and such a venue? And just go in off the street, knock on the door. And it's great to come through these channels, that we're working on here. But the traditional basic way can also work walking in off the street, and don't give up and try pick a time where you think it might not be as busy for the venue, and also understand that a lot of the venue owners might be cranky, might be tired, might be a bit gruff, and they might think they won't think a 14 to 15-year-old child coming in as a salesperson, but they'll be used to dealing with people trying to come in, selling them coffee, selling them plates, selling them glasses, selling them everything, and they are really not interested. They're just trying to open the doors again after the lockdown and serve people. Yeah. So to the best of their ability, try and pick a time where it might not be busy, and you can go in and find the owner or speak to the chef or speak to the manager. So that would be my tip there. But essentially, go knocking on doors, print off your resume and just go for it. Build up a bit of confidence. Yeah. And just tell them, look, this is who I am, and I'd love to work for you, and I'm available tonight or tomorrow, and take it from there. And now another important thing as well is they might be asked for a tax file number. So it's quite important as well that all the candidates have a tax file number. They might even have an ABN. There's no reason why they can't set up their own little business name, and it could be Josh's, freelance bartending, PTY Limited, and you can actually have a lot of fun with that as well. So set up a business name, get an ABN, even have your own little business card, Jenny's dog walking services or Jenny's great pizza making services. Here's my card, here's my number, and do a really cool little business card for cheap, or a quick copy, or your local printers, and things like that make a difference. So you can have a bit of fun with it. So get a tax file number. I say even set up an ABN, and even at the age of, you can set up an ABN at any age. It's quite remarkable. So I would do that as well, and that helps them stand out from the crowd, as long as they have the adult mentor or the adult guardian that can help them do that as well. And that's not as easy for everyone, and I appreciate that too.
Yeah. We've got a question from Chris.
Hi Roy, how are you?
Hello Chris, how are you doing?
Good mate, good.
Yeah.
Look, just wanted to reiterate a little bit here. I've had a bit to do with Roy, and I've sent a couple of candidates to him, and how he's presenting you now is how he is all the time. So he's very open and honest when it comes to having these dealings, and he's very transparent when it comes to being realistic about your opportunities. So I feel like Roy's the sort of guy who will always tell you what he thinks is best for you and the options for you. And he also puts forward where he best thinks the placement for you is to actually be. So I sent him a couple of candidates, and he made some recommendations to me about where he best thought they'd be suited. So don't be afraid to reach out to him. I just think it's a good opportunity for you. He's very, very clear concise with his words, and I just think it'd be an outstanding opportunity for anyone in our industry.
Definitely.
Thank you for that, Chris. And just following on from that, we did place 2 candidates, which is really exciting, with the Peachtree Hotel. And I know they came from your network, as in Vanessa's or Chris's network. And I think one of the chaps might be, I can't remember, is it Joshua or Thomas? He escapes me, but he's actually started 2 weeks ago, because we don't always hear back from the venues, even if they take our candidates, unless I follow up quickly. And so a referral, a young lad that came through your network got a job, which is amazing. And he's in year 12, and he's apparently a terrific guy. And there's another lady as well by the name of Courtney, who again came through your network, through the Schools Careers Advisors Network, who's actually finished work as a single mom, but came to me through yourselves, and she has also secured a job as a kitchen hand at the Peachtree Hotel, in this case, with a great young chef there by the name of Joshua. So, and I apologize, there's been heaps of other resumes that have come through that have been forwarded on as well, and we haven't had the same joy yet, but partly that's because the kids are still at school, and the venues might be looking for a particular type of candidate. But I think once December comes, once school finishes, when they realize all the candidates are finished school and they're available for school holidays. And that's the other thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be year 12s. It can be, year 10, year 11, depending on their age as well. And there will be heaps of summer jobs available. So thanks to everyone who has sent through the resumes, and apologies if I haven't been able to progress those just yet, but they are on our hit list. And I think the doors will swing open once school finishes.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we've got one last question from David, and then we'll wrap up.
Roy, just in regards to mindset, obviously we've come out of COVID, we've got, young people coming out of school, some people have got long-term unemployment. What would you suggest to shift their mindset from where they've been over the last, 18 months to getting them motivated mindset around moving forward for employment purposes?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I've been very lucky to liaise with Vanessa, over the last sort of 12 to, 24 months, as far as doing mock interviews and things like that. And often the mindset of the candidate can be driven by the atmosphere that they have at home, or the family arrangements that they have at home, and they're not always ideal. They're not always coming from an easy place themselves, and that's why these candidates are absolutely amazing. When I meet them and when we do the mock interview, I think, oh my God, how brilliant are you? And so part of the challenge you have is, what's their home life like? Do they have a guardian? Do they have a mum or dad? And if you can get to the mum or the dad as well, and really highlight to them the great opportunity that Jenny has, the great opportunity that Charlotte has with this pub on Saturday, and that's why it's really important that she gets there and she has a white shirt and black trousers. If you can really get in touch with the mum or the dad or the grandparents who might be looking after them, that family unit, because often, I think particularly with young boys, they're not going to tell mum or dad or granny or granddad, whoever is living with them, that they've got this great opportunity. They might mention something, I've got an interview with this guy, but I don't know anything about it. But deep down, they might be really enthusiastic. But I think if we can work with them, with their family network, if we have those contact details, even if it's a phone call, to say, hi, look, we're working with, the young lad, we got a great opportunity on Saturday, Sunday. It'd be terrific if you could go with him or drop him off, or say hello to the manager, and really support the candidate as well, your son or your daughter or your grandchild, whoever it is. Because often, as you all know, this may be the first job that a generation of their family may have had in 2 or 3 generations. And so that's how I would approach it from one angle, David, as well. If we can not just rely on the candidate, but I know that's not easy, and I know it's not always practical, and you might not have the time, but together, if I can help with the families as well, or put in a phone call and say, look, this is an amazing opportunity. Your son or daughter has done a fabulous job getting here, and you should be really proud of him. And we just want to let you know he's got a shift starting on Saturday for 2 or 3 hours, and it could lead to something great. And that can really be a great booster, both to the candidate and to the family as well. So it's really about, it's the village, takes a village to raise a child, isn't it? So I hope that helps, David. That's one angle, and really supporting them and giving them good feedback. And as Chris mentioned, we try where possible to highlight with candidates why they didn't get the interview as well, or what they could have done differently. And also, one thing I've done very clearly, I've had to do it in the last sort of few weeks, is be very strong and very angry is not the right word, but really call out candidates who haven't shown up. And if they do make the mistake of answering the phone from me, they don't realize it's coming from me. I've actually highlighted with them what impact that's had on the venue, what impact their no-show has had on the career advisor, what impact it's had on my brand and my name, although most people know it's not really anything to do with us, but still, I've highlighted that, you impacted 10 other people by not showing up, and it's just not good enough. And if you want us to work with you again, if you want Vanessa and David and the team to help with you again, you just got to change your attitude. And, I'll say, look, I'll give you one more go with another venue, but if it happens again, we're not going to help you, and it's not good enough. It's not a very poor performance. And I've said that to them direct, and some of them have hung up the phone on me and cursed at me. I said, look, you're not going to like it, but that was not good enough. And I'm really, really annoyed because I spent 2 weeks trying to get you an interview with that company. We're not getting paid for it because that's our business model at the moment. So that's the other thing, being really clear. I don't think enough people tell the truth, or discipline isn't the right word, but we're all so PC and afraid that we'll get sued left, right, and center about what we say and how we do it. And no one really gets pulled up for anything nowadays. So if you can find an angle to say, look, that just wasn't good enough, and I've spent 12 months working with this client to get you that opportunity. And then they may apologize, or they may say, oh, what happened was mum was sick, and then I didn't know if I should ring you and I got nervous. And that's fine as well. I say, look, I really appreciate you told me that. And, I've had people ring back a week later, say, I'm really sorry, I had a family issue at home, and then I didn't know how to ring you, or I didn't know how to tell you. And I said, look, that's okay. Family things happen. And you're a great person for picking up the phone. And I hope everything's okay. But I said, next time, maybe if you can just send a quick text from the car, or, within reason. But, things happen where they can't genuinely contact you.
Yeah.
From a domestic point of view, and we don't judge that or anything. I just say, look, I really appreciate you telling me that. And I do say to them, look, I thought it was out of character. I thought something strange must have happened because I wasn't expecting that from you. So look, let's go again. Do you want me to put you forward again? But it's where they don't answer the call, or they get annoyed with you. And I say, look, that just wasn't good enough. And you really need to, do better, work better, and help us to help you. But we're not going to accept that performance from our candidates, and we'll stop putting you forward to great venues.
Yeah. So it's bringing back those key employability skills of reliability, communication, and that commitment, that sense of commitment from an employee. Sorry. Yeah. So on that note, Roy, it has been absolutely wonderful having you along today to share your insights into the hospitality industry and really share what is going to help someone succeed and thrive in the industry and to get a job. So thank you so much for your time today. And thank you to everybody else who has joined us to hear all about this industry and the potential it holds. I think there's so many avenues that, a starting out job can take you on. So I think there's a lot of exciting opportunities in this industry. So thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa.